The method feeder is a brilliant device designed to make fish catching as easy as possible. It delivers a tiny little parcel of bait, presented well, anywhere you can cast, and it also has self-hooking properties. So anywhere you cast this, as long as there's some fish nearby, you should come back with a fish. Predominantly pellets is used around the method feeder, but it's also ground bait. Unfortunately, on this particular venue, ground bait is disallowed, so I'm just going to be using micro pellets. A whole host of different hook baits are available. In this instance, I'm going to be banding a 6mm pellet, but we could be using maggot, we could be using meat, we could even be using mini boilies, very similar to the specimen style, although scaled down a touch. And the hook bait does make a difference. It's all about ringing the changes, and changing from one hook bait to another could be the difference between those extra fish and not catching. So let me take you through loading the feeder. The hook pellet or hook bait goes in to the centre of the mould. That's then held in position with your thumb. You simply take some pellets, sprinkle over the top, and then press the feeder squarely and firmly into the opening. And this has a quick release button at the bottom. And what that does is push the feeder up out of the mould and leaves you a perfectly loaded feeder every time. That makes every single cast as accurate as possible because you're aerodynamic and you've also got the same weight of pellets on. So in theory, it should be landing in the same time, same place every time with the same amount of bait. We have such a neat, tidy parcel of food that will catch you a carp. It's very important to make sure you sink your line as quickly as possible. It just helps with bite detection. You don't want a huge amount of pressure on your tip of your rod. The tighter the line, the more likely you're going to spook fish and it will rise up higher and also dislodge the feeder. You want to keep that as slack as possible. And a soft tip on the rod helps this. And then the great thing about the method feeder is it gives you hands free to be preparing your bait for something else, tying rigs, or generally relaxing. To connect the line to the hook length, it's just quite quick. It's with a method quick feeder bead. Very, very good device. Keeps it nice and neat and tidy at the business end. A two-part device that opens up, stops the feeder from sliding onto the hook length. Finally, there's no place for light lines with method feeder fishing. An 8-pound or 10-pound line is perfect. I go for an 8-pound just because it allows me to sink the line a touch quicker and we have a bite. That's the great thing about the method feeder fishing. You can actually have a bit of time to enjoy the day. Fantastic F1 caught on the method feeder. Another top tip for increasing the attraction around your feeder is with the adrenaline plasma that's now available. This goes onto the method ball after it's been formed and out of the mould, and it's quite simply squeezed into the top, and that will soak into the pellets and increase the scent trail for fish finding the bait when it's out into the lake. Let's get it out there. Here we are, straight into a fish on the plasma. Tip went round within 30 seconds of casting out. Feels like a decent sized carp. We've had a few fish on this now. Probably spent an hour on it. It's starting to slow down a touch, although we had this bite sort of out of the blue. But in my experience with the method line, there's a few occasions where you'll catch on it all day, but generally speaking, you'll get a burst to begin with, and then you'll have to come off it. And then sometimes you will get another run sort of 2, maybe 3 hours into the match. After you've had a bit of bait out there for a while, but without catching any fish, it's sort of like the leftover bait from when you were fishing does hold the fish for sort of like a period of time, and you can get another run of fish later into the session. Let's get this one in the net. I think he liked the plasma, didn't he? And there you go, there's an overview of this brilliant little device, the Method Feeder.